The NBA landscape is rife with intrigue, and occasionally, conflict between players spill over to involve the spouses of their teammates. A prime example is Tony Parker's affair with Brent Barry's wife, where explicit messages circulated between Parker and his former teammate's partner. Additionally, there's the ongoing animosity between Karl Malone and Vanessa Bryant, the wife of the late legend Kobe Bryant, as Malone has been known to make unwanted advances towards her. These are tales of NBA players clashing with the wives of their teammates. Tony Parker against Brent Barry's wife. The incident involving Tony Parker and Brent Barry's spouse, Erin Barry, became a prominent episode of personal strife within the NBA, attracting considerable media scrutiny. Tony Parker, the French-American point guard who had emerged as the symbol of the Spurs dynasty, was enjoying peak performance. Off the court, he captured headlines with his high-profile union to actress Eva Longoria, a seemingly fairy tale marriage that enchanted both fans and Hollywood alike. On the other hand, Brent Barry epitomized the Spurs' ideal role player. A former NBA athlete, Barry played alongside Parker for the Spurs from 2004 to 2008, helping the team secure 2 championships in 2005 and 2007. From 1998 until 2010, he was wed to Erin Barry, and their union epitomized the stability that the Spurs organization valued. Erin, Brent's high school sweetheart, shared 12 years with him and was the mother of their 2 sons. She was also a close friend of Eva Longoria, with both couples sharing a tight bond, having attended Parker and Longoria's wedding in France in 2007. This closeness rendered the subsequent events even more heartbreaking. Parker's animosity toward Erin did not arise suddenly. It was a simmering bitterness that ultimately erupted into one of the most catastrophic personal betrayals in NBA lore. From the instant Erin joined the Spurs' social scene, Parker felt his irritation with her grow. Although she seemed like the ideal NBA wife on the outside, Parker detected something beneath that others overlooked, a self-serving tendency that made him uneasy. What began as a simple irritant deepened into a more sinister feeling as Parker witnessed Erin maneuver through the Spurs' social dynamics. His disdain for Erin escalated as he perceived her covertly manipulative actions. The turning moment arrived when Parker discovered that Erin was deliberately attempting to sabotage his marriage with Eva Longoria. Insiders indicated that Parker grew increasingly certain that Erin was supplying Eva with details meant to instill uncertainty and mistrust in their bond. The turmoil surfaced in late 2010, particularly in October and November, as both the Parker-Longoria and Barry unions fell apart. Parker's retaliation was strategic and profoundly damaging. Longoria submitted her divorce from Tony Parker on November 17, 2010, claiming irreconcilable differences. She allegedly stumbled upon countless messages on Parker's phone sent by Erin Barry. However, the truth remained hidden. Parker had intentionally set the stage for this revelation as a final act of vengeance against the woman he had come to loathe. Sources suggested that Parker and Erin had been sharing flirtatious or risque texts for almost a year. Parker's scheme was cunning in its malice. He aimed to entrap the woman he despised, fully aware it would shatter her marriage and tarnish her status within the close-knit Spurs circle. On October 29, 2010, Brent initiated divorce proceedings from Erin, which concluded on January 5, 2011. Parker had meticulously orchestrated a catastrophic series of events. His disdain for Erin ran so deep that he was ready to jeopardize his own marriage just to ruin hers. Erin Barry publicly refuted any infidelity, asserting on her blog, "I did not have an affair with Tony Parker," yet her fervent denials only intensified Parker's delight. The controversy almost resulted in a trade from the Spurs, with coach Greg Popovich reportedly enraged. But Parker's animosity for Erin was so overwhelming that he was prepared to risk his entire career merely to witness her anguish. His commitment to the team, culminating in a second championship victory in 2014, demonstrated that his methodical takedown of Erin Barry was a gamble worth taking. The rivalry between Karl Malone and Kobe Bryant's spouse. The 2003 to 2004 Lakers were envisioned as a basketball utopia, featuring a star-studded lineup primed for a last-ditch title chase. Yet, hidden within this facade was a menace, harboring a deep-seated aversion to his teammate's youthful wife, unmasking the most sinister aspects of NBA culture. Karl Malone's animosity towards Vanessa Bryant was not just ordinary teammate disputes. It was deeply malicious and strategic. He had come to the Lakers for the 2003 to 2004 season, aiming to secure an NBA title alongside Kobe Bryant, but soon found his attention fixated on his relentless desire to undermine Kobe's young spouse. From the instant Malone saw Vanessa, he viewed her as the embodiment of all he detested about contemporary NBA wives. She was a young woman who had entered a world of riches and prestige through marriage. Malone regarded her as unworthy of the life she led. The two athletes had fostered a bond. Their families often enjoyed each other's company. Yet Malone's resentment for Vanessa lurked just below the surface. He loathed her demeanor, how she seemed to command Kobe's attention effortlessly. More than anything, she embodied all that he believed was flawed in the younger wave of NBA households. His animosity stemmed from a corrosive mix of envy, racial bias, and sexual tension that would soon erupt in the most disturbing manner imaginable. The event that revealed Malone's real emotions took place on November 23, 2004, when his resentment reached a breaking point. Vanessa Bryant was on a call with Karl Malone's spouse, who had arrived solo during the game. Kay proposed that Vanessa reach out to Karl to invite his son to sit with her. This seemingly harmless interaction provided Malone with a chance to express his long-simmering animus towards the woman he had come to loathe. When Vanessa contacted Karl, he purportedly made some inappropriate remarks. As reported by Palinka, Malone suggested, "Why not join me over here, take a seat, and wrap your arms around me? If you do, it'll grace the cover of every magazine nationwide." However, this was far from playful banter. Malone's intent was to belittle and demean a woman he had come to despise, and Kobe was well aware of this. As the phone discussion progressed, Malone's animosity only grew stronger. Malone allegedly inquired of Vanessa, "Do you have feelings for me?" She answered, "As my friend Kay's spouse," prompting him to further probe whether she could keep a secret. When Vanessa reminded him of her marriage and his age, Malone purportedly replied, "Like your father?" Each question appeared aimed to unsettle her. In a bid to assert his superiority over a woman he seemed to disdain, Malone's animosity peaked post-game. Vanessa, of Mexican heritage, turned to Malone, adorned in a cowboy hat, and asked, "Hey cowboy, what are you after?" According to reports, Malone allegedly responded, "I'm out looking for young Mexican girls." This comment wasn't merely out of line. It reflected Malone's tendency to diminish Vanessa to a racial stereotype, revealing his profound animosity in an extremely abrasive manner. Kobe felt intense pain and treachery, viewing Malone as a guiding figure and a brother. "You know something? I'm aware of the events that transpired. I'm conscious of my feelings about it. Those involved are all too familiar with the truth." However, Malone's animosity toward Vanessa was so fierce that he would sacrifice a bond with a player he truly admired solely to wound a woman he loathed. This incident forever fractured the friendship between Kobe and Malone. Malone officially hung up his sneakers in February 2005, with personal conflicts with Kobe being a key reason for his choice to leave the Lakers. Malone's animosity toward Vanessa not only cost him a shot at a championship, but also jeopardized a significant bond with one of basketball's legends. The rivalry between Jason Richardson and Steve Nash's spouse unfolded in the sun-drenched city of Phoenix, where Nash was crafting an exquisite offensive display in NBA history. Yet, within that paradise, a malignancy was brewing that threatened to unravel everything the Suns had achieved. Jason Richardson's deep-seated bitterness towards Alejandra Amarilla marked one of the most damaging instances of teammate-wife rivalry in NBA lore. In December 2008, Richardson joined the Phoenix Suns, playing with Nash until December 2010. However, his mounting animosity toward Alejandra began to undermine the team's unity and success. Almost as soon as he stepped into Phoenix, Richardson's disdain for Alejandra took root. Nash wed Alejandra Amarilla in 2005 after they first crossed paths in New York City back in 2001. They welcomed twin daughters, Lola and Bella, in October 2004, and a son named Mateo on November 12, 2010. Richardson regarded Alejandra as the embodiment of all the traits he loathed in NBA wives, a foreign woman who leveraged her beauty to latch onto a wealthy American athlete. What truly drove Richardson to frustration was Alejandra's air of entitlement around the team. Insider accounts reveal that he found her persistent attendance at team functions unbearable, perceiving her as someone who believed she held more significance than the players. His disdain grew as he observed what he interpreted as her manipulative sway over Nash, whom Richardson admired for his talent, but questioned as a man. The apex of Richardson's animosity came with the revelation of Alejandra's infidelity towards Nash. Following the birth of Mateo in November 2010, Nash initiated divorce proceedings with Amarilla just a day later, bringing Richardson's role in the unfolding drama into sharp focus. He submitted divorce papers right after their son's birth. I'm gone. He submitted for divorce the very next day, following their son's arrival, due to the fact that their son is black. His spouse is his spouse. From the outset, he felt an aversion, plain and simple. However, Richardson's pursuit of Alejandra stemmed not from desire, but from profound disdain. His animosity ran so deep that he was prepared to dismantle Nash's family, determined to validate his belief about Alejandra's character. Both reports and social media chatter hinted that Nash harbored suspicions of Amarilla's infidelity with Richardson between 2008 and 2010. Richardson's allure of Alejandra served as his method for revealing what he perceived to be her authentic nature. The scandal's emergence coincided impeccably with Richardson's wish to shame Alejandra in the public eye. The gossip gained momentum due to the timing of Nash's divorce proceedings, initiated just after Mateo arrived, coupled with Richardson's transfer to Orlando in December 2010. They believed the child was his. However, it later came to light that she was also involved with another teammate. Jason Richardson, driven by animosity, Richardson devised a plan that would publicly unveil Matt Barnes's icy demeanor and shrewd tactics concealed his longing for love. This was Derek Fisher's cunning strategy to undermine the woman he had come to despise over the years. His calculated attack on Gloria Govind showcased one of the most deliberate acts of wreaking havoc on a teammate's marriage in NBA lore, carried out with the same precision as a well-rehearsed championship plan. Matt Barnes and Gloria Govind were wed, but had parted ways in 2014. As of 2015, their divorce remained unresolved, and they share twin boys, Carter and Isaiah, who were born in 2008. Fisher's resentment toward Gloria took shape when he played alongside Barnes with the Lakers from 2010 to 2012. While they were thought to be good friends during their tenure at the Lakers, Fisher covertly observed Gloria's actions and became more appalled by her perceived manipulation of Barnes. He loathed the way Gloria appeared to dominate every part of Barnes's life, influencing everything from his social circles to his professional choices. He observed as Barnes, a hardened, street-smart athlete, grew increasingly estranged from his teammates due to Gloria's sway. Fisher's resentment grew as he perceived Gloria's calculated dismantling of Barnes's connections within the Lakers. The tipping point arrived when Fisher understood that Gloria was deliberately undermining Barnes's standing with his peers. Sources indicated that Fisher became sure Gloria was misleading Barnes with false tales about discussions and events involving fellow players, stoking paranoia and distrust that were corroding the Lakers' locker room unity. Fisher's animosity escalated to the extent that he began scheming his retaliation long before he eventually executed it. Derek Fisher started his relationship with Govind in 2015, right after he filed for divorce from his spouse, Candace, in March. However, this move wasn't fueled by love. It was Fisher's final vengeful act toward a woman he had come to loathe. His genuine emotions were laid bare on October 3, 2015, when his strategic scheme reached its peak. While in Santa Barbara for training camp, Barnes got a troubling message from his 6-year-old son Carter, revealing that mommy's friend Derek was at their residence in Manhattan Beach, California. And he's insisting, I'm not. Fisher's loathing for Gloria ran so deep that he intentionally went to the house he was aware was still under Barnes' financial support. He aimed to inflict the utmost embarrassment on both Gloria and Barnes. Driving from Marina Del Rey to the residence he still funded, Barnes discovered Fisher in the backyard engaged in a bond fight with Govind and around 10 others. The situation escalated into a physical clash where Barnes struck Fisher, pursued him through the house, and only halted when his son pleaded with him to stop. Fisher's scheme was unfolding flawlessly. He had effectively revealed Gloria to be precisely the kind of woman he suspected. Did he land any hits? No, he didn't. He didn't throw any blows and spent the whole time shouting to stop but insisting on a conversation. In April 2018, Fisher proposed to Govind, and they tied the knot in 2021. Yet this was not love. It was Fisher's method of irrevocably asserting dominance over a woman he had come to despise over the years. By 2023, he had taken a role of head basketball coach at Cresby Carmelite High School, where Barnes' twin sons took to the court. Fisher's triumph was finally realized. Kevin Garnett against Carmelo Anthony's spouse. Madison Square Garden had hosted innumerable confrontations, yet nothing could have equipped the EU basketball community for the psychological onslaught Kevin Garnett unleashed on January 7, 2013. His brutal disdain for Lala Anthony marked the most vicious and premeditated assault ever leveled at a teammate's spouse, executed with the finesse of a skilled sniper. This incident unfolded during an intense game where the Celtics triumphed over the Knicks 102-96. However, what seemed like mere trash talk was truly the peak of Garnett's long-standing animosity toward everything Lala embodied. His disdain for Lala had festered for years prior to their dramatic clash. He loathed what he viewed as her contrived Hollywood image, her roots in reality television, and chiefly her perceived corrosive effect on Carmelo Anthony's competitiveness. At that time, Lala was married to Carmelo and was a well-known entertainment figure, celebrated for her roles as a TV host and actress. Garnett, having closely followed Anthony's career, became convinced that Lala was the key factor preventing one of the NBA's most gifted scorers from securing a championship title. He regarded her as the epitome of the softer elements in today's NBA, a culture fixated on celebrity rather than true basketball prowess. What fueled Garnett's animosity was his conviction that Lala had deliberately undermined Anthony's edge as a competitor. He observed how Anthony was growing more engrossed in building his brand and online persona, and Garnett firmly believed that Lala was the catalyst for this shift from fierce competitor to fame-focused lifestyle. The anticipated moment for Garnett arrived in that January 2013 match when he finally got the chance to vent years of suppressed animosity. During the game, Kevin Garnett reportedly aimed pointed trash talk at Carmelo Anthony that struck at his personal life. The claim that gained the most traction was that he said to Anthony, "Your wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios." This wasn't just aimless banter. Garnett executed a calculated psychological attack on a woman he had come to loathe. His remark about Honey Nut Cheerios served as an intentionally vicious and demeaning jab suggesting betrayal while stripping Lala of her dignity in the most visible way possible. His loathing for her was so profound that he was prepared to jeopardize his friendship with Anthony to hurt Lala. This remark enraged Anthony, sparking a heated confrontation during the match. Post-game, Anthony made the rare decision to linger by the Celtics team bus outside Madison Square Garden, ready to face Garnett. Carmelo Anthony received a one-game suspension from the NBA as a result of his effort to confront Garnett after a game. The repercussions of Garnett's animosity lingered long after. In January 2024, on his podcast, Anthony reflected on the situation, saying, "You'll always be my number one power forward. However, we never addressed the personal matters." His acknowledgement of their unresolved personal issues highlighted just how profoundly Garnett's animosity affected him. Paul George and Roy Hibbert spouse. What started as a seemingly harmless team dinner turned into the inception of an intricate revenge saga in NBA lore. Paul George's deliberate animosity towards Valerie Cook showcased a brilliant demonstration of psychological manipulation, carried out with such finesse that it would fracture a title contender from the inside out. Both Paul George and Roy Hibbert played pivotal roles for the Indiana Pacers during the early 2010s, vital contributors to the team's successful playoff journeys in 2013 and 2014. George's increasing disdain for Hibbert's spouse would eventually undermine what might have become a championship legacy. His resentment toward Valerie sparked almost instantly upon her joining the Pacers' social scene. Valerie Cook had been Hibbert's girlfriend since their days at Georgetown University. They became engaged in 2012 and wed in September 2014. George loathed her perceived arrogance and her seeming conviction that her education and upbringing set her apart as better than the other NBA partners. George was particularly enraged by Valerie's patronizing attitude towards the younger teammates. Insider accounts indicate that he witnessed Valerie making veiled yet biting comments about the players' backgrounds, educational attainments, and life decisions. He regarded her as someone leveraging her connection with Hibbert to position herself as the top authority in the Pacers' social structure. His resentment grew as he perceived her detrimental impact on Hibbert's leadership abilities. The Pacers showcased impressive strength in the 2013-14 season, but grappled with internal turmoil, culminating in a late-season slump and playoff letdowns. George grew increasingly certain that Valerie was influencing Hibbert's thoughts. It fostered skepticism toward his fellow players and bred an environment rife with suspicion throughout the team. The culmination of his concerns hit when he understood that Valerie was intentionally sabotaging his reputation among the group. He uncovered that she was making disparaging remarks to other spouses regarding his integrity and work ethic, effectively orchestrating a covert campaign to alienate him from the supportive Pacers community. Nonetheless, 9 years back, Paul George enjoyed fame as Hibbert's partner. He pulled it off, right? Back when they played together on the Indiana Pacers. George's retribution was both strategic and crushing. In May 2014, whispers began to spread suggesting that Paul George had an affair with either Roy Hibbert's fiancée or someone near to him. Yet, this situation wasn't about George having feelings for Valerie. This was George's final act of revenge towards a woman he had come to detest. The brilliance of his scheme lay in its timing and its psychological consequences. The whispers indicated that this liaison was behind Hibbert's mental turmoil and his struggles on the court, which played a role in the Pacers' disappointing playoff run. Notably, Hibbert's performance faltered significantly during the 2014 playoffs, experiencing several games without points, and George's animosity had cleverly positioned itself to tarnish both Valerie's standing and Hibbert's self-assurance at the same time. This was just before Roy Hibbert recorded that infamous 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists playoff game. George's animosity ran so deep that he was ready to forfeit team dynamics and their chances at the title solely to witness Valerie's torment. It was rumored that a confrontation between teammates Lance Stephenson and Evan Turner during the playoffs arose from Stephenson publicly disclosing the affair, igniting strife within the locker room. George's methodical dismantling of Valerie had effectively unleashed turmoil across the whole franchise. On May 6, 2014, George took to Instagram to post a picture of himself, Hibbert, and teammate George Hill enjoying a fishing trip. He captioned it, "These whispers need to end. This narrative is growing stale, and those who support it are oblivious and unkind kin." However, this rejection was a calculated part of George's cunning plan, publicly projecting innocence while secretly delighting in the chaos he unleashed. What rendered George's animosity especially vicious was its capacity to erode Hibbert's trust in those around him. Following a scoreless Game 1 in the 2014 Eastern Conference semifinals, Hibbert bounced back with an impressive 28.9 rebound game in 2, attributing his mental fortitude to George during a fishing trip. Ironically, George's malice had cultivated a scenario where Hibbert found himself reliant on the very individual who had shattered his tranquility. At that time, Roy Hibbert ranked as one of the league's premier centers until Paul George's wife entered the picture, shifting the balance of his motivation for basketball and his marriage. The couple tied the knot in September 2014, with George and other Pacers teammates present, Yet George's animosity ultimately soured their bond. His attendance at the wedding became a taunting celebration. He had effectively tarnished Valerie's reputation while still preserving his status as Hibbert's loyal comrade. Shannon Brown versus Paul Gasol's partner. Late-night Twitter revelations had never been a harbinger of championship ruin until Shannon Brown chose to turn social media into a battleground against a woman he had grown to loathe over months. His intense disdain for Silvia Lopez Castro became one of the most damaging instances of teammate-spouse rivalry, playing a significant role in the downfall of a title-contending team. These allegations surfaced amidst the Los Angeles Lakers' disheartening exit from the 2011 NBA playoffs, where they suffered a sweep at the hands of the Dallas Mavericks in the second round. Yet, what initially seemed like a mere scandal was in fact the product of Brown's long-standing animosity toward a woman he believed encapsulated everything wrong with NBA wives from Europe. Brown's hostility toward Silvia ignited as soon as she joined the Lakers' social scene with Gasol. He loathed her perceived air of European superiority and her apparent conviction that her sophistication rendered her above the American wives and partners of the team. Brown noticed her veiled remarks about American culture and basketball spouses that showcased her cultural elitism. What particularly enraged Brown was Silvia's condescension toward the families of role players within the Lakers organization. Reports indicated that Brown's frustration grew as he witnessed Silvia's disdain for wives and girlfriends lacking her educational pedigree or cultural polish. He perceived her as a person leveraging her bond with a star athlete to secure her position as unassailable in the team's social structure. The Lakers, reigning champions then, were anticipated to vie for a third consecutive championship in 2011 but faltered in the postseason. Gasol's disappointing performance attracted criticism, leading to rumors of personal problems as a possible explanation. Brown's animosity towards Silvia encountered the ideal chance to unveil what he perceived as her genuine nature. All right, let me put a stop to this immediately. I did not have an affair with Paul Gasol's partner. This is the first and final time I'll discuss it. Brown's public denial was a clever psychological strategy. On May 14, 2011, Brown went on Twitter to confront the rumor head-on by posting his denial. However, by choosing to go public, he ensured that Silvia's reputation would suffer lasting harm, no matter what the truth may be. If it isn't real, simply don't acknowledge it. Just brush it off. It's merely gossip. And, let's be honest, they reside in Los Angeles. He's aware of that. When you confront it, you don't confront it if it's outlandish. You simply don't engage. What made Brown's animosity particularly strategic was the way he timed the controversy. NBC Sports noted that Brown's audacious late-night rebuttal intensified the issue by bringing attention to a rumor that had previously flown under the radar. Brown's animosity had effectively crafted a scenario where Silvia would always be linked to controversy and betrayal. At that moment, Brown was wed to the R&B artist Monica, complicating matters further. Despite rumors implying his infidelity, Brown's disdain for Silvia burned so fiercely that he was ready to jeopardize his marriage and image simply to witness her endure public disgrace. The repercussions on Gasol were swift and catastrophic. Gasol recognized that the gossip tormented Lopez Castro, who was allegedly wounded by the conjecture. Brown's animosity not only shattered Silvia's tranquility, but also sowed seeds of doubt in her bond with Gasol. Some accounts suggested that a nearly confrontational incident with Gasoline Brown escalated into a physical altercation, causing irreparable damage for the Lakers. His bitterness achieved its goal, unraveling team cohesion and showcasing Silvia as a potential source of turmoil within a title-contending franchise. Team A's Andrew Bynum highlighted trust concerns in the locker room, pointing out the hesitation in passes and defensive breakdowns. Brown's psychological tactics effectively tainted the entire team dynamic, demonstrating how one man's loathing could dismantle a championship legacy. The consequences laid bare the full scale of Brown's ruinous influence. After the 2011 season, he departed from the Lakers to join the Phoenix Suns, but his goal had already been achieved. His animosity towards Silvia had effectively shattered the Lakers' championship aspirations and inflicted lasting harm on Gasol's standing and connections. We appreciate your viewership. If you like this video, hit one of the boxes on your screen to explore more related content.